Well, welcome back to the Skillwork Forum, where we talk about the trends, challenges, and opportunities shaping the skilled trades. I'm Brett. I'm the CEO and founder here at Skillwork.
And I'm Mike Matlock, Vice President of Sales and Operations. I oversee the teams that not only work to find, vet, and deploy those skilled workers for the right fit, but also with our clients looking for help to find the right fit for their company.
Yeah, so today, we're going to tackle just a challenge that I think every manufacturer, whether you're a maintenance manager or a plant supervisor, plant manager, it doesn't really matter. You all are facing this probably today, and if not, you surely have. And that's, how do you solve the need to find the help you need without sacrificing the talent? And Mike, we know that desperation that we hear from our clients, often leads to we just need to get a body in the building, over the talent that can ultimately lead to more issues.
Yep. Yeah, it's a hard one. I think most of our customers and most manufacturers in general think it's one or the other. Do you hire fast and risk a bad fit with less talent, etc., or do you take your time hoping to find the eventual right one? Meanwhile, you're experiencing the day in, day out trauma and challenges of downtime, unmanaged PMs, employee burnout, all the while costing you money. Two choices, and both seem really bad.
Yeah, no, you're right, Mike. And so, I think the truth is, I think what we want to kind of put out there today, and don't roll your eyes at us as we say this, but the truth is, you really can have both. If I would say, you have to have a plan. You've got to have a full kind of a workforce solution. Probably it's going to require you to think differently than likely, you have in the past. But I think we're going to try to unpack today, how you can get there. So with that said, with this pressure to fill the roles fast, let's kind of set the stage, Mike. So when a skilled trades position opens up, we know the clock starts ticking immediately. Yep. And the reality is, in a lot of cases, it's not even necessarily an immediate. It's this clock has been ticking for a while.
Yeah.
But either way, whether it's because the seat has been open for so long or it just opened, there's pressure, and we hear it from our clients. So what do you hear, and what do you guys hear, from our clients specifically? You're out there a lot more than I am anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges and hurdles they face. The big one, obviously, is production deadlines. Every day, a maintenance role, any skilled maintenance role is open and it's unfilled. There are missed production requirements. Regardless of whether somebody says they're going to retire or quit or get fired, production still has to happen. And so those are still going unmet with unexpected downtime. And every facility is facing this. This is nothing unique. And when I talk to a lot of these clients, and my team talks to these clients, we'll often ask, what's it costing you? What's your downtime costing you? And it varies by industry. And I did some research because I like to look at numbers. I looked at research, and I came across a new study that's for every hour that a facility has one open skilled maintenance role that's not filled, it costs them $10,000 to $25,000 per hour. But think about that. I think I get somebody's attention if they're paying attention. $10,000 to $25,000 an hour. That's over $1 million over the course of a year in avoidable costs. And if you look at that, I'm sure several folks watching this are thinking, wait, did he say $1 million per? We have 1, 2, 10 roles that we're currently trying to fill. This is a big deal. So, you know what we should do? We should rush out and just go grab somebody. Let's post the job. We got to find somebody. Who was the last person that applied? Let's go talk to them really quick, which creates more problems.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. I think, Mike, clearly what we hear and see. I was just at an event last week with a variety of clients, and I would say, if anything, the industry is becoming more and more automated. It's the challenge to find the front end labor is forcing automation, plus the efficiency needs are forcing, and it's there.
Yep.
And so, but with that, not only does that then add challenge to the talent that you need, which we talk about differently, but the other thing is we met with a company last week. They're highly automated in this plant, and so those costs, those downtime costs, are now they're just growing 10x
Mhm.
because the lines are so intertwined, and when it goes down, it's a big down. Used to
Yep.
when we were more segmented and we weren't as automated,
Yep.
you could have a breakdown here and still run here. That's becoming, more difficult. So I think to your point, the pressure the pressure mounts, on the HR department or wherever.
Yeah.
Just get us someone.
Yeah.
We hear that, and the human nature is just grab someone and get the pain to stop. If you've watched this podcast in the past, I spent, 30 years in the manufacturing space. And, we were starting to run into, I sold my last manufacturing company, over 10 years ago now. But, my maintenance managers would say then, which I think is kind of feeds into what we're talking about here today, Mike, when you accept, they would tell me that, well, what I used to be able to get done with a team of 20 talented maintenance technicians, key being talented, had now grown to 30. And so in their mind, their cost hadn't gone up. But the reality is they said, now I have 30 on my team and about 15 of them are actually skilled.
Yeah.
And so not only the cost of not having him, but then cost of having the wrong talent, can be a bit of a challenge as well, or a costly thing, not
Yep.
just in necessarily the fact that more chance they're going to make mistakes. Your work comp costs go up because they're not as experienced. But then also just you're paying for them.
Yeah.
You're paying for a good help or bad help if they're showing up. So go ahead.
No, yeah, that's good. I think you make a good point. With automation, more of those roles become interdependent. And if there's one issue, it just creates a problem on down the cycle. It's not more segmented. And we hear this all the time. And you asked the first time I traveled with you and went to see one of our clients, you asked that question, which is your difficulty bodies or is it talent? And every time it's talent. A lot of times it's bodies, but every time it's talent. And most of the time it's both. They just can't find both. Their struggle is we can't find the right people with the right talent. So they make that leap and we just got to find somebody quick. So they jump in and they grab somebody. Talking to a client at one point, they said, we're in a community with a lot of highly mechanical aptitude level people because they're a farming community. So they go hire them thinking they made the right hire. And that quick fix creates bigger problems down the line. It's not just skills. Now you may have missed on skills. You may have missed on morale. You may have missed on culture. You may have missed on a lot of things that are creating even bigger problems for you downstream. So
Yep. No, it is. Let's talk a minute about why the quality tends to slip when the speed, when you get into that pressure situation, when the maintenance manager has now gotten to the point where they've put enough pressure on the HR manager, just get me some help, kind of a thing. When you get in that pressure situation and where you kind of let the quality slip, in the need for speed, so to speak.
Yep.
Kind of what, let's maybe spend a minute there.
yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is an over reliance on job boards. Because to your point, that maintenance manager is feeling the pain every day, and he's going to HR and he's pressing, "I need candidates. I need candidates." And they post a job, they then pray, and whoever shows up with mechanical aptitude, that's who they put in the mix. And here's the reality: the best skilled people are not on job boards. They're not looking on job boards. They're already working somewhere. And I don't want to talk down to how anybody approaches it or in their search, but a couple of our team members were out this week with a new client, and they asked them, so how are you looking to find candidates right now? They literally take them to the front of the building in the foyer where people come in to visit, and on the board, controls technicians. I don't know how many controls technicians thought to go up to that facility that day to walk inside and it will look on the job board and say, I think I'm qualified for that because those folks are already working. They're somewhere else doing a really good job. Um, Talking to one client at one point not long ago, they said, okay, we need 6 industrial electricians. Like, okay, how many do you currently have? And their current count, they go, but those 2 don't count because they're not really electricians, but I need them. They have some electrical background, so they're kind of stepping in. But if you can actually find us someone who knows how to do the job, it might benefit us. And there's the challenge. Again, it goes back to the skills. They're making these quick decisions. They're just trying to get good people in who want to help. But you know this better than anyone. You don't just pick up that skill in a matter of a few days or a few years. That's a long time commitment to become a real master of your craft. And that's what they're struggling to find in their haste.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the skilled labor shortage hurting your company's bottom line? Skillwork is the premier staffing agency focusing exclusively on skilled labor. Our team of highly skilled workers augments your existing teams for elevated impact and decreased downtime. Partnering with hundreds of facilities in more than 30 states, we deploy our traveling industrial technicians to work for you on a contract basis. Our philosophy is simple: to honor God in all we do, bring respect back to the skilled trades, and positively impact those around us. For more information on how Skillwork can deliver the top labor talent you need, visit skillwork.com or call us at 402-447-7058. Call us today to see how Skillwork can work for you.
Well, and I think too, the reality is like we just talked about, and it's interesting because I've always said it, and I was not just guilty of it when I had my facilities. There was a season where it worked, and that is basically you posted the job locally, and somebody showed up at the door.
Yeah.
Now the truth was they weren't controls technicians because we didn't need controls technicians back then,
Yep.
and so we just needed somebody that could turn a wrench, which you could tend to maybe you could find that
Yeah.
that locally. But I think the reality is just as you're moving, you have your process, and the pool is so small locally that if you don't move super quick, and so you can kind of see how this cycle starts to where you continue to lower your bar
Mhm.
for the need because hey, this person isn't great, but they're the only one that has applied this week. And if we don't get them, somebody else is going to take them. And you begin this bit of this cycle of this rush to, most this is broader than just your skilled maintenance town, but most bad decisions are made quickly. And so, when you don't stop and think about, is this the best thing, for the situation? And so I think that kind of leads to it. So anything else that you can say that, in this need for speed, are there things that people skip or things that,
Yeah.
maybe cause more issue?
Yeah, I would just reiterate that need for speed, and I would urge anyone who's paying attention. You've got to move quickly, regardless of your avenue of finding the talent. You have to move quickly. When we work with the customer, we try to set the expectation. We're going to find these folks, fully vet them, test them, and we're going to give you their resumes. You have to respond in 24 hours, just with a simple, we would like to interview or not. And it's just this mind shift because I will say that. And a lot of times they just don't. And I'm like, and then when they do finally reach out, they're gone. I mean, true story. We had a high level controls technician. And I said, here's the resume. You got them in 24 hours. And it took a week. And they finally responded and said, well, good news. We don't need to interview him. We'll go ahead and take him. Well, the bad news is he was gone 5 days ago because these high talented people have options. They know they have options, and you got to move quickly. So when you're working with candidates and you think you've got somebody who's highly talented, you've got to move quickly because they will move on. So
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we we preach it in our model. We preach it almost to sometimes I almost feel like I'm being bossy or demanding, but I'm just trying to get them to understand if you don't move,
yeah,
we are going to lose these cans. So You
Yeah.
know, the $1 million question is Mike, you know, how we kind of teased it out at the beginning. We said, you know, how do you get both?
Yeah.
And so, you know, how do you move fast, but make sure that you're getting the right talent, you know,
Yeah.
both from a skills and a cultural fit.
Yeah. It's bench strength. You have to have a talent on the bench through building relationships, get yourself a pre-vetted talent pool that you've already screened, you've already tested, and you've already built relationships with. It's one thing just to have the aptitude and the skill sets, but you got to make sure that you vetted everything else, all those soft skills to make sure the right fit for what you do. Because if you're starting from scratch every time, to your point when you started this, we now have a job. And if you start there looking, you will not find them. And if you do, it's going to take quite a bit of time because if you just wait for that role to open up, you're in trouble, which again, that's what we do. That's all we do. We tell everyone on our team, you got to have a bench. You got to have a bench of people who are already vetted, already screened, and you know where they're going to land and where they potentially could go before that role opens up. Because when the time comes, you got to go.
No, no, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you know, we don't, we never want to turn this into a commercial. We really like to just speak into the space. We're really passionate about helping companies solve this workforce, you know, skilled workforce shortage. You know, but at Skillwork, you know, it's what we do. It's you know, I say it a lot of times. It's all we do. You know,
Yeah.
we find, vet, and deploy skilled talent into the industrial maintenance space, and because of that, as you said, we come, you know, it's kind of like the saying, you know, we start the game on third base,
Yep.
you know, with when you call us, you know, we're not, oh, well, hey, we never thought about, you know, finding one of those for you. And so it gives us a huge advantage for a company. It's part of you're in such reaction, you know, kind of a mode. And so anything else, Mike, on the speed and quality
Yeah.
side of it?
Yeah. I would encourage everyone, you have to streamline your decision making process. I understand there's a need to get certain folks in your facility on board, obviously, from HR to the hiring manager, plant manager, but everyone has to be fully aligned. This is the skill we're looking for. This is the soft skill we're looking for. This is the type of person we're looking for. And when that person shows up, the decision's been made. If the frontline person says they check these boxes, and if you have the process in place and you trust your process, you can move fast without cutting corners. Because again, when you delay, you lose. And we have multiple examples just where I've worked with facilities, and again, not to question how somebody approaches it, but they're saying, well, our hiring process is 2 or 3 interviews and different tours and different people, and it doesn't work that way anymore because again, they have options. They're hard to find. They can go to any job board and see how many roles are looking for that skill set that they have. And they want to go to work. The people we talk to, the workers, they want to go to work. They don't want to sit around and wait for someone to make a decision. So you have to streamline your process, get everyone on your team aligned with what you're looking for, and then trust what you do.
Yep. No, I think that's right. Yeah. And really the last piece, you know, is in that piece of it, not the total last piece here, but you know, I think we know, Mike, what we're really, really good at is we can find and vet the skill.
Yep.
And so the last piece of that, which I think that's in some ways, I think that's really challenging for a lot of the companies,
Yeah.
you know, because they're trying to hire production, they're trying to hire office, you know, and maintenance skills and all this. So it's a wide, like I said before, all we do is this. And so, but in addition, you know, once you find the skills, then you've also got to you've got to find that cultural fit, you
Yeah.
know, and it's the hardest part. It's the hardest part for us. It's the hardest part for any company
Yeah.
is to then find the skills and then find somebody that's going to be able to uh, communicate in your facility, kind of gets along with the team. You can have the most talented, you know, person in the world. We like to use sports analogies, and so you know, you can have the most talented, you know, receiver, you know, in the country, but if he's, you know,
If it disrupts your locker room, you got a
there
problem.
you go. Well, Mike, any real world examples as we kind of try to bring this thing home?
Yeah, it's we had this play out in the last week. You never want to promise timelines, but I think this is an example where everything come into work perfectly. We have a client, well-known company. They came to us and said, we need this level of controls technician, and we need them in 2 weeks. Now, normally we're like, that's tough. But in this case, we said, okay, we know exactly what you do. We know exactly what you make. Give me your 3 to 5 must-haves that they have to fit this skill set and this testing parameter. Most importantly, communicate quick. And they did. Within a couple of days, we sent them the resumes, and within 24 hours, they said, we want to interview, and here's when we can interview. Within 2 days, they were interviewed and offered, and they started before that 2-week deadline. And again, that's not the commonality, but that's what it can happen, whether you're using a Skillwork or your internal team alone. If you know what you want and you can define it and move quickly, then you stand a chance to succeed. And we tell our customers all the time, if you want to be successful, know exactly what you want, define it, and then move quick. When they do that, then everybody wins.
Yeah. No, that's great. So, I think if you're out there and you're either, you're somebody, you're HR, you're a maintenance manager, whatever the case may be, and you're managing the skilled trade roles. I think 3 quick takeaways, hopefully from what we've talked about today, is our encouragement would be, to build your bench now.
Yeah.
I love it when we talk to a company and they go, yeah, we're full. Now, most of the time, I'm not sure they're telling us the truth,
Yeah.
but I'm like, good for you,
Yeah.
and so, but build your bench now. Keep your hiring process tight. You said it, got to move. It's got to be seamless. It can't be drawn out. And then that last piece, look beyond, just the skills, make sure that it's somebody that's going to not disrupt, we talk about, what kind of wake are they going to create, for your team, kind of thing. So anything?
No, that's it, Brett, right there. I mean, that's simple. As I always say, there's a difference between simple and easy. That's simple. It's not always easy, but if you can get those 3 things in line, I think you'll avoid a lot of pain that comes with rushed hires, mismatched hires, and that will result in less downtime, higher revenue, which is what everyone's shooting for.
Yep. And yeah, kind of the last thing, and I'll close it up here, is obviously we have the advantage because it's all we do, is when you say, well, how am I going to build a bench? That bench isn't going to be sitting there when I need them. Well, that's why, like I said in the beginning, you may have to think outside of your box. You may have to partner with somebody like Skillwork who focuses on this, because we have a bench. We have that ability to be able to do that. Your ability is you just got to kind of have the talent in-house. But either way, so whether you got to streamline your process, whether you got to build your bench, and those types of things, or whether you need to, find a company like us and partner with, either way, the problem, good for us, not so good if you're listening to this, trying to solve this problem. It's not getting better. It's probably going to get worse as we push more into automation. But there is a solution. You can have the best of both worlds. So that's it for today of our episode on the Skillwork Forum. Thanks for joining us. And we talked about hiring for speed and quality in skilled trades. If you're facing an urgent need right now, or you just want to build a pipeline so you're ready for the next time, check us out at skillwork.com. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
This is Brett Elliott, CEO and co-founder at Skillwork. Prior to starting Skillwork, I spent over 30 years in the food manufacturing space. From literally starting out cleaning the restrooms to becoming the maintenance manager, then the plant manager, to eventually becoming the president and owner, I've seen the manufacturing world from many perspectives. And like many of you, I've seen firsthand the growing need for higher skilled workers, while at the same time experiencing the shortage of this skilled talent. I started Skillwork to address that need. I knew the headhunter and the local temp agency models were not the solution. If you're experiencing the same shortage of talent at your facility, we would love to connect you with our team. Give us a call at 402-447-7058 or visit us online at skillwork.com.